Good morning and welcome to DCT Quantum, where we go a little deeper into coherence at the quantum level, which is the deepest level that you can go to actually in this third dimension. So just want to welcome everybody. It's day 12. So today I wanted to talk about the road map that we gave ourselves the moment we incarnated onto Earth. So no matter how you were born, right? You may have been born by cesarean or natural childbirth. And I appreciate that not everybody has this information, but most of us do. Let's be honest. We know the time we're born, we know where we're born. I think that's the two things you need. And then, if you haven't done this already, invest in a session with a really good natal chart astrologer. This is just what's coming in right now. This is most of the time, this is unscripted, it just flows through. And I think this has a relevance to the idea of the avatar blueprint that we talked about yesterday. So we do come through, most of us, not remembering. But if you think about it, the point that we enter the earth, where all the planets are, so your astrological natal chart, will give you a lot of information about where you've come in from. So what's associated with that? So I had my natal chart done, and I was able to see that I came in, and before that I'd had a lot of children and a family life, and I was something to do with the Cancer sign. All of us have these entry point that the natal astrologer will be able to tell you what that means. And then there's no accident, no matter how you're born, in where the planets are aligned. There's no accident. There's no accident where your houses are on your chart. There's no accident about the time, the numerical time of when you were born. There is no accident about where you were born. It's not random. You organized everything. You organized your entry point. And that entry point is a map, like a hidden treasure map filled with clues. So why were you born where you were? What are the cultural values that are predominant in that area? What's the history of that nation? What about your bloodline? What are your families, both sides, known for? What are the characteristics? What are your parents like? What's your mother like? Why did you choose that kind of maternal upbringing? Did you get nurtured? Did you not? Did something bad happen? Were there bad actors in your family? Was there abuse? Were there issues? Were there wonderful things that happened? Did you have an idyllic childhood? Were you able to go out and be wild and free? Were you enchanted? Did you get a lot of freedom? And then this is something else that you can do. You can get some maps, Google Maps, and you can track every single place that you've ever lived in, area, location, street, names. And it's a fascinating exercise, and I'll tell you for why. There is a divine pattern that we remember when we cross over. So everything that happened to us, every path that crossed ours, even when you walk down the road, it's not random. Someone coming towards you and passing you by. Out of all the millions of people that are around, where you live, the street names, there are clues. It's like hacking a code. It's hacking the code of the matrix. So, for example, how many of us would really compare maps of all the places that we've lived and just, do a wide area around it and start to notice the words, the names of things, the concepts that they're bringing up. Start to think about your fundamental relationships, perhaps your intimate relationships. Think about their names. Think about where they came from. Think about the people that most influenced you as a child, teachers, pastors, all these kinds of people. It needn't take a lot of time. This needn't become a massive intellectual project. But what you can start doing is you can journal, you can have a book, and you can just begin to map out your timeline. And I would advise in the very beginning that you solely concentrate on your natal chart and sit with somebody who can explain it to you. This is what I did. And you're going to understand why you chose that entry point. Again, it's not random. So we don't come through entirely blind. We leave ourselves clues. And as I've said, everything is an elaborate blueprint. And what you begin to realize is the more that you look at things, there are no such things as coincidences, and there are no such things as random acts. Everything, streets, location, village, town, the places you worked. Think of the names. Make a list. The schools you went to. Write down the names. And do some detective work. Start to look at this forensically, starting from your birth, thinking about where your parents were born. Perhaps one of your parents was born in an exotic location. If your parents are still alive, you could ask about, if it's appropriate, how you could, the conception point. That's important. Believe it or not, you can count back 9 months, and often you'll get told that's important. When you made that contract, where it was made, why you chose that street, those parents, with their characteristics. Be the detective in your life. We so often invest our time in other people telling us what our story is, but most of us have access to the basic details of our own lives from the moment that you were born. That's your roadmap. That's going to give you a lot of information about why you came here and what you decided you were going to work through on your wheel of all your houses, of all your constellations, of all your archetypes. Remember, each of those star signs is an archetype, and you came through with other archetypes. Some of them were given to you by your parents, some of them were given to you by your culture. You chose those, and those archetypes and those planets influence you, as does the moon and the sun and the stars. Everything influences you. So do some detective work, because I think that when we talk about blueprint, when we talk about why we're here, we just forget that we have so much of information, and you're going to notice synchronicities. You're going to start to see. One of the most rewarding things I did was I began to notice certain words popping up in the streets that I lived in, or the school that I went to, or my university where that was, or my first job. I began to see these words that were very either the same or closely aligned. That's a clue. That's not an accident. So become Sherlock Holmes. Do some digging. Start with your natal chart if you can invest there, or dig it out if you've had a session before. Dig it out. Look at the notes. That's a blueprint for you. All right, let's get into DCT, Deep Coherence Technique. 5 steps. Today, we're going to flex our quantum muscles again. Yesterday, we did a lovely walkthrough. There's a lot of description. So if you're brand new here, go back to yesterday's DCT, because I really detail out every step. But for those of you that have been practicing today, we're going to go through it using just resonance. And I'm going to use my my hands, my fingers. So step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. We're building up the inner architecture here so that we have the ability to step into coherence as quickly as possible. So let's start with number 1. Oh, just come back into your body. Just feel it. Feel where you are now. Be here present with me. You don't need anything. You've got this. And you know how to do DCT. So connect with the vibration that is your body. No sounds, just resonance. Let's quantum entangle. Well done if you stay to the end. Well done. Notice how quickly you come into resonance with each step with less words and eventually with less visualization, because quantum is instant. This is not a hack. That is perfecting the sacred art of coherence. To keep practicing. I think you can now feel where this is going over 28 days. We do it step by step. So just feel the waves, feel the frequency, start to listen to the resonance that is all around you. You don't need someone to translate that. That's always there for you. I'm just being human now. I just want to say goodbye. From my heart to yours. Have a beautiful day. And I will see you again very, very soon.